Hi there, this is Bibi here. Welcome to a new video. I hope you are doing well and stay safe. Today, I'm going to be sharing ideas and inspiration using Simon Says stamp supplies, but you can use these ideas with any supply you might have. So first, let me show you the Slimlime envelope die by Simon Says stamp. That is this one here. It includes 2 dies, and the larger die in this set measures 11 inches and a half by 4 inches 1/8. And there is a couple of wires that are connecting these dies, so all you have to do is to bend those wires and you can just put this apart. Here I have an A4 British piece of cardstock. This is 200 grams, and I just wanted to show you that the die will fit in this piece of cardstock, but the die is too large for a standard A4 American piece of cardstock. I'm showing you this as a reference so you can bear in mind the size of the die, especially this large die. And of course, you can use any larger piece of paper or cardstock that you might have to die cut an envelope. Now I'm going to die cut the paper, and I'm going to use a standard die cutting machine to do this. All you have to do is to affix or secure the die on the paper using low tack tape. Place this on the die cutting machine platform like I'm showing there. Run this through the die cutting machine and then move the die and the paper like I'm showing there, and finish die cutting that piece. Now we need to die cut 2 extra pieces, so I'm going to cut one of the panels of the envelope just like that, and for the other panel we are going to need to die cut the reverse of the paper. So I'm going to rotate the paper and I'm going to die cut this piece like so. So in that way, I made a mirror die cut for the other panel of the envelope. And that mirror die cut is going to have rough edges because we die cut the paper on the reverse side of that piece so that we can get that mirror die cut. Next, I'm going to reinforce the scoring lines, and I'm using the scoring board to easily do this. Once this is done, I'm going to fold the paper and burnish over those scoring lines, so I'm going to have very nice and neat edges. I'm going to use double-sided tape to adhere this, and I'm going to trim the ends of the flaps like so. And identify the top of these pieces because you can make a V at the top and a wider kind of V shape at the bottom, not as narrow as the one at the top. Then I'm going to adhere this to the sides of this piece, and I'm going to guide myself for the bottom, this little part here in the bottom, to align this perfectly. Move the paper around and find the way in which you can do this easier. So you see that I'm kind of placing those pieces right next to the other one, and I'm also guiding myself from the scoring line in the bottom flap. That piece has to be perfectly aligned there in that little part there, because if not, that bottom flap is not going to close. As I got the right placement for this panel, I'm going to rotate the paper and remove the backing of the adhesive tape, and I'm going to completely adhere that side of the panel. Then I'm going to adhere the other one, making sure that the pieces are in place, and the bottom scoring line and flap are the best guide I could get. And all I have to do here is to seal this envelope like so. So there you go. That's a beautiful envelope. And this measures 9.5 inches by 4.8 inches. With a little bit of practice, you will be making these envelopes really quick. And if you have a large format die cutting machine, you will be able to mass produce the envelopes in record time. You can make these in any color that coordinates with your project. Okay, so I made this card base, and to make it I use a piece of paper that measures 9 inches by 8, and I scored it at 4 inches along the largest side of the paper. So this card base measures 9 inches by 4 inches. I'm going to use this die here, that is the largest die in this die set, called a Stitched Slime Trio by Heffy Doodle. And I just cut a front panel for my card in the same color of the card base. And I'm going to use this tool here, has a ruler, to trace a line at 3/4 of an inch from the top edge of that panel. This is going to allow me to know where to place the die when die cutting. So what I'm going to do is to align the top edge of this hard die here with that line, and I'm going to die cut the paper. I'm going to eyeball this. I'm not going to measure everything because I found that exhausting. Then I'm going to run this through the die cutting machine 4 times, just because this cardstock is extremely thick. Then I'm going to die cut this heart here in the opposite side of the paper. I want to die cut those two at the ends of the panel, so that will give me the perfect placement for this one in the center. And this die I'm using here is called Filigree Heart by Simon Says Stamp, and it's going to allow me to do something I'm been calling die cut shadowing. This consists in adding an inlaid die cut image underneath another die cut or stamped image, and this will act as a shadow, adding depth and interest to your project. It's a different way to add dimension, and of course the key is to use the same shape or the same motif that you are using as a topper. So you are using butterflies, you might want to use also an inlaid butterfly like those I'm showing in the picture. You can apply these on different paper craft projects, and instead of die cut, you can also use a stamped image. This design tip works like a charm, and I don't want to think this as a technique because it's not a technique, it's a design tip. Another tip I have for you is to add texture. I love to use distress sprays over die cuts. So I die cut 3 hearts, and I'm going to spray this once using Barn Door Distress Oxide spray. Then I'm going to adhere this panel to the card base using foam pads, and this looks pretty simple, but I really think that this is very beautiful, and it was super duper easy to do. You can just leave it like that if you want, but I'm going to use those hearts that I sprayed with the Oxide spray and I'm just going to adhere this with dimensional pads over those inlaid die cut hearts. I'm going to use Turtle Doves die set. I bought this one from the Simon's Stamp store last December, and it landed on my door with no problems here in Scotland, just like 15 days after. And something about this is that there are a couple of tiny pieces that I want to keep in place, so I'm going to use double-sided tape to try to keep that in place before removing the die cuts from that paper. This is 300 grams, it's smooth cardstock, is really thick. So that's what I have to run the dies twice over the die cutting machine so that I make sure that this is going to cut just perfectly. These dies also have some leaves, a little bow and hearts, and I'm going to die cut these leaves several times out of silver glitter paper just to create some decorative accents for this card. This dove wing bends and it's super stinking cute. I love it. And I'm just going to adhere those doves over the hearts like so. And this is a very generic card. This could be even for Christmas, changing some elements. You could use snowflakes instead hearts and make something completely different. But if you want to copy this design, you are absolutely welcome to do it. Everything that is in my channel is for you. Now I'm going to add a hint of color to these doves using a pink Copic marker, just like that. And I'm going to adhere these die cuts there just to add a sparkle. So once I finish this card, we can put this card inside the beautiful envelope we just made, and we have a perfect match. Now let me show you quickly another way to use the Slimline envelope. So we are going to die cut this large piece, and I'm going to fold and burnish the flaps. Behind this flap here, I already added double-sided tape. Now I'm going to fold this piece in half, and then I'm going to fold this part here in half as well, and the other side of that piece in half as well, so that I'm going to make this kind of shape. To complete this project, I'm going to need a piece of cardstock that measures 8.5 inches by 6 inches 3/4, and I'm going to score at 2 inches 1/4 all around the edges. To give shape to this box, I'm going to trim the flaps or the side panels, and I'm going to just do it like so. Once this is done, I have to fold and score over the scoring lines, and I have to glue the pieces in place. I'm going to use liquid glue, but you can use double-sided tape or any adhesive you might have. Now I'm going to adhere these pieces together. I'm going to expose the adhesive here, and I'm going to adhere this like so to that box base, and then I'm going to add glue or double-sided tape to completely glue this box base into that die cut shape that we die cut using the Slimline envelope die set. You can place any item inside, and to keep the box closed, you can just use a glue dot. I'm going to punch a couple of little holes to thread some twine, and then I'm going to add a handmade tag using the same elements I used to create the Slimline card I just showed you. And this box measures 4 inches by 2 inches 1/8 by 2 inches and a quarter. Last but not least, I want to share an idea to make a pocket using this large die cut here. All you have to do is then again fold the flaps and then fold this piece in half, and then I'm going to use the scoring board to score at 1/4 of an inch along the larger side of this die cut. Once I have this done, I'm going to trim these corners here to give shape to the flaps of this pocket, and I'm going to make a cut in diagonal there. Then I'm going to trim this part here until the scoring line. So this will be the front of the pocket. I'm going to fold the paper, and I'm going to trim this in diagonal as well. Then I'm going to use the envelope punch board to just punch the paper here. You can use a circle punch, a hard punch, any punch you have, and this will allow you to take out the gift card inside this pocket with easy. I'm going to fold and score and burnish these scoring lines. And I'm also going to trim the paper in this folding flap in a diagonal as well, because that is going to be a flap. All the flaps that you make in a project should have a diagonal cut in both ends. So I'm going to try to fold this inside in a way that this flap is grabbing the side flaps and sandwich that in a very nice way. So this other idea is done. You can stamp this, fold these, do this in different colors, using different scrapbook paper to do this. You can also make an envelope and trim it to the size of your projects, or plan ahead and die cut this according the size of your projects. But I think that making the envelope as I just showed you, it will save you lots of work and also paper. And to decorate this gift bag, envelope or pocket, I'm going to use the same decorative elements for my Slimline card and for the box. So as simple as that, I finished this project, and this gift card envelope measures 4 inches 3/4 by 5 inches 3/8. I also made a gift card holder that measures 4 inches and a half by 3 inches and a quarter. And this was super simple just to complete this project. And that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel or to visit my blog for more ideas and inspiration. The links with supply list are in the video description. You can also find in the video description the link to my blog with more pictures. And today we are having a blog hop and giveaway for you. I hope you can join us. Thank you very much for watching and happy crafting. Bye!